Hello, friends. How are you doing? I'm sure that gratitude is on your mind this week as we're gearing up for Thanksgiving and you're thinking about all the things in your life that you appreciate. The gratitude is something that we can be constantly cultivating. So I have a blog post that I want to share with you, which outlines several of the practices that I do each and every day to cultivate a grateful heart and a more joyful life. But there's one thing on this list that may be keeps me as well from experiencing gratitude completely. So I just wanted to highlight that and talk about it with you today so that we can all benefit. So before I get into this, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Brandy Falcon, owner of Falcon Healing Arts, where I help mindful mamas like you find and maintain holistic wellness naturally. So I do this through my local services as an out-call acupuncturist, a longtime yoga teacher, and also online through my wellness blog and as an essential oil and natural medicine distributor. So having a growth mindset is really key to wellness, and that means that we're able to shift and change. Our mind is flexible and we can adapt. And it typically means that we need to be approaching our life, so our lifestyle, changing up our lifestyle, as well as our mindset. So that is what will need to happen today as we conquer this one thing that most of us do. So what is it that is keeping us from feeling gratitude fully? You can guess before I say, because many of you probably know, we need to stop complaining. And it may just feel like words to some, but I'm going to tell you what the problem is here. And there's three things that I want to point out. First is that when we complain, we're expressing dissatisfaction about something in our life. We're telling people and the world that there are things we do not appreciate. So it is the opposite of gratitude. We're expressing ungratefulness. And the problem is that what we focus on grows. This is a law of nature. It's just like the law of gravity. If you focus on negativity, you're going to see more of that in your life because that's the way your brain is wired. So when we're complaining to others, this is the third point, which is just a little worse. I'm just layering on the problems with complaining. The third is that when we're complaining to someone else, we're bringing them with us. We want them to at least relate to our experience, but sometimes to feel what we're feeling too. And we all know the saying, misery loves company. Sometimes we find ourselves in a group of people who are constantly complaining and have just a really poor mindset about life. And they may even feel like good friends to you because you all have this heart connection. But if your life is not, if you're not experiencing the joy in your life that you want to, this may be the reason that you're just hanging around and being influenced with people who have a negative mindset, and it's getting a little harder to climb up above that. So again, I am not perfect. This is one of my practices every day, is to watch my mind, to watch and see when I am complaining and try to change the story around that or change the circumstance if I have control over it. So let me just tell you a little story. I won't go back too far, but if you should know, my childhood, it was a little hard, and I grew up with influences that weren't very positive. And I ended up seeking therapy in my mid-20s to help me with some problems I was having at work, just experiencing a life crisis there. And I had a series of failed relationships and just felt like a failure, period. And so needed help with that. I needed another perspective because I was so far into my junk that I didn't know what to do. So, and I ended up going for 5 years, but I think it was probably in the middle of this where I remember I was constantly venting, and I would actually be excited to go to these therapy appointments because I could let these emotions off my chest, off my mind. And I remember one day I was complaining about something, so either work or love, one of them. And I was complaining about these things constantly happening. I was in this cycle. I didn't know why it was happening, and just blah, 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 victim mentality. And I could see, I was mindful of my therapist across from me, kind of moving a little, shifting and taking deep breaths. And then finally she said, "You need to stop complaining." And I think she even repeated it to me, maybe even in her head, like, "With the love of God, please stop complaining." And that really affected me. Of course, I was, it was really confronting in the moment. I felt bad, but then I was like, whoa, she just threw up this mirror in front of me and I can see how bad it was. And things changed drastically from them. It was a very pivotal moment in therapy, and my life improved from that. So when you're experiencing gratitude, and I write about this in my blog post, it means that you are accepting everything that is happening in your life. It is your reality. You don't need to love everything that is happening in your life. So even the unpleasant things, if you can see clearly that this is not where you want your life to go, then you need to do one of a few things. Like with my work life back then, I knew these things kept showing up because I was being told clearly this is not where I needed to be. I needed to focus somewhere else. I wasn't useful in my job. That's why I felt like crap, because I wasn't contributing to the world as I wanted to. And it wasn't a problem with me. It was just the wrong fit. So I ended up quitting my job and going to TCM school. And of course, this was, it was a process, not immediate. And I'm pretty sure that the relationship I was complaining about then was the one I'm still in now with my husband, back then when he was just my boyfriend. And I remember just being too far in, way too soon. He didn't want children at the time, and I was sabotaging the relationship because it wasn't what I wanted. I was thinking too far into the future though. And really, I just needed to focus on having a loving, functional relationship, no matter how far along we went. So I decided to stick with that. So two very different approaches to these problems is what I decided to do, and experienced more joy from that. So I was grateful for the hardships at work because it made me change. I was grateful for the hardships I experienced with my relationship because it made me refocus on what was really important. And then it ended up working out in my favor eventually anyway, because we do have a son. So that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you. Just one more thing is that when we're talking about complaining, what's destructive about it too is that we feel like we're taking action by saying these words and telling them to someone, but we're not. That's usually as far as it goes. So take action if possible, or again, change the story in your head. And this is something you can be doing, I can be doing each and every day. So see if you can watch that this week. See if you notice other people's reaction. If you catch yourself complaining, how do they react? Are they getting into it too? Or are you seeing that discomfort like I saw with my therapist? Maybe you'll start noticing those cues. Again, putting a mirror up in front of you, which will help you change your attitude. Notice this at the Thanksgiving table. I know many of us like to go around the table and talk about what we appreciate, what we're grateful for in our lives. It's just interesting that oftentimes after that, we get into heated discussions about politics and other things that are really uncomfortable, and talking about all the things that are not right in the world and what is the point to that. So maybe you can help reframe the conversation after you reframe your mind, seeing that maybe this is not the best dinner conversation, and it's not going to feed everyone's hearts. So I hope this helps you, and if you like this video, please let me know. Share it with others if you think it will help them too. And if you want, you can go to my website where you can pick up a free stress relieving acupressure guide. So it's a self acupressure guide you do on yourself, very quick and effective to help you with relieving tension, improving your sleep, and this will help you feel more gratitude for your body, for your health. So this is a way of taking action to experience more gratitude and joy. If you have other tips, because I hope that you read the blog post too, if you have other tips about how to open your heart and lead a more grateful and joyful life, let us know. Hope you have a great week, and happy Thanksgiving every day. Take care.